to Everyone Has a Money Story. How well do you know yours? This is a re-recording of the original broadcast from Wednesday, February 22nd. In our time together, I will initially provide a brief overview of financial social work. Then I'll be talking about how your life story provides the context for your money story, and we'll look at some of the things you can learn from your past money story that will benefit you for your future money story. During the live broadcast, we did have a question and answer session at the end. Traditionally, we provide a great deal of financial information and knowledge through our webinars, and all of them are experiential and introspective. Today's is particularly experiential and introspective because I feel that your money story provides such an opportunity for learning about yourself and your relationship and behavior with your money. So that is the focus of this session. And all the other ways that we support men and women in taking control of their lives and gaining control of their finances through all our social media, our newsletters, our free webinars, and our blog will then provide the information you need to support you with your future money story. Financial social work is an interactive, introspective behavioral model that is heavily psychosocial and very much strength-based. It is also very multidisciplinary. The psychosocial component matters because until and unless behavior changes, nothing changes. Financial social work does facilitate the choice to take greater responsibility for your personal and financial future. And we do that through our process of ongoing education, motivation, and support. New knowledge and skills are very important if we want to do better with our money in the future. But education doesn't really contribute to change. It's motivation and support on an ongoing basis that we find really leads to sustainable long-term financial behavioral change, which is, of course, the mission of the Center for Financial Social Work. So the reason we provide that model is because we know that it isn't strictly financial skills that will allow people to create the change they need and want, because financial stability is a very, very personal and emotional and an individual choice that is made sometimes minute by minute, hour by hour, and certainly on a daily basis. So this is what financial social work looks like to me. It is about change. It's about help. It's about being more self-accepting. It's about reducing stress, financial and personal. It's about setting healthy personal and financial boundaries. It's very success-oriented. And as this very favorite graphic of mine indicates, it is about being at peace with your money. So why a webinar on Everyone Has a Money Story? How well do you know yours? Because there's so much that we can learn from our past money story that will help us to write a better future money story. And to that end, as this quote indicates, I'll be asking you lots of questions. Financial social work isn't about telling people what to do. It's about helping people determine and choose to do things differently for themselves and to identify what those steps are. So hopefully this session will provoke you to do just that as we continue. And your life story provides the context from which to examine your money story. Both begin at birth, and too often we're more reactive than proactive with each of those chapters. The story of who you are today is based upon the choices you've made in the past and the outcomes which resulted from those specific choices. Do you think of your life as a story? You are its author. And when you spend time thinking about the various chapters in your life story, you can begin to recognize how you edit your narrative with each retelling. Think about a story, a piece of your life that you recently shared with someone. Think about the way that you told it that time. Think about how you may have told it in the past and consider how you might tell it differently in the future. Those revisions, large or small, conscious or subconscious, are very purposeful. When you understand how and why you are telling your stories the way that you do, you begin to understand more about who you are personally and eventually financially. All story revisions are purposeful, just as all behavior is purposeful. And when we understand those pieces, we're in a much better place. Are you familiar with your most common story edits? We're always revising and rewriting our stories. Are they exaggerations or minimizations? Are they falsifications or eliminations? Think about how you alter your story. Think about what you can learn about yourself, about the person you are today, about the person you were yesterday, and most importantly, about the person you want to become. There are lessons in your stories. The more connected you are to your life story, the more successful your money story is likely to be. So we move from your life story to your money story. And this graphic indicates some of the ways that people spend time worrying about their money. Certainly not all of those ways, but some of those ways. And worry, as we know, doesn't change anything. Many factors influence your relationship and your behavior with money, and therefore they very much influence and impact your money story. It's your relationship with your money that drives your behavior and ultimately creates your financial circumstances. Can you think of any of the things that influence your relationship and your behavior with money? Well, the number one that most people come up with is family, and that is obviously a very strong influence on our money stories, and that's what we'll be spending time on today. There's eco status, how you grew up, how you're living today. Gender, we still think of money as a man's specialty rather than a woman or girl's specialty. The age, generation, or life cycle, the position you're in today will seriously impact your money story. The things you did when you were younger, marital status, financial experiences. If you have experienced or may be experiencing a bankruptcy or a foreclosure, if you've lost a job or won the lottery, all are pieces of your money story. Religion and culture very much impact many people's money stories as well as their lives. And of course, social expectations, societal expectations, and economic circumstances. Many people talk about the need for financial social work in a down economy, but the reality is that in every economy there are people who need more education, motivation, and support to create a better financial future. So everyone has a money story. What is yours? Just how well do you know your money story? How connected are you to it? During our live broadcast, we had an interactive poll asking that question. And while the majority of people indicated they did feel connected, a few felt very connected, but many felt disconnected, some even very disconnected. So think about how connected are you to your money story? Each money story is unique, and it doesn't start with once upon a time, nor does it include the happily ever after of the fairy tales from our childhoods. So where do you begin to tell your money story? What do you think? When you look at your current financial circumstances, you know your money story from yesterday. What are the specifics of your money story? What money messages did you receive from your family? Was it about saving money? Was it about spending money? Was that debt was acceptable or unacceptable? Those money messages are a very significant part of your money story. Were those specifics of your money story positive? Were they negative? Were they taught? Were they observed? And we did an interactive poll in the live broadcast, and the majority of people indicated that they learned about money from their families only by observing, and that much of it was negative. Which of your family money messages made sense to you when you were a child? Which did not make sense? Which still don't make sense? Which of your family's money messages remain a part of your money story today? When you understand more about those money messages, you'll understand that you can determine which still serve you well and which don't. And that will facilitate your ability to make choices and make changes. When did your money story begin? Was it before you were 10 years old? Was it while you were a teenager? Was it about a part-time job? Did it involve an allowance? Were you taught about money? Did you learn about money by experiencing success with it, disappointment with it? When you decide which of the money messages from your family benefit you, you'll know that those may be ones that you want to continue, but you also need to know which ones are more harmful and not beneficial, and those you might choose to eliminate. Who most influenced your money story? Was it a parent? Was it a sibling? Was it a boss or a colleague or a friend or a friend's parents? What did you like about how that person was a financial role model? What didn't you like? How helpful was it? How harmful was it? These are important pieces to understand and be clear on in order to write a better financial future story. So why does knowing your money story matter? Certainly, there are many components to our lives, and while money isn't necessarily the most important one, it is one that impacts everything we do. It determines where we wake up, the clothes that we do or don't have, the car that we do or don't have. So many pieces of our lives, education or the job that we do or don't have access to. So by knowing your money story, you know the revisions you want to make for your future money story. Knowing your money story connects you to the financial component of your life. We wouldn't have the economy we have today if more people were more connected to the financial component of their lives. It helps you to write better future chapters when you understand why you are where you are in your money story today. It facilitates responsibility and accountability. Certainly there are many ways to give away that financial peace and power in your life. But as this wonderful graphic says, don't let anyone else hold the pen to your financial story or your financial future. You have the ability and the responsibility to take control of your own financial destiny. And it's through your money story that you can gain the necessary insight and understanding of just how to be successful in that endeavor. It also, your money story provides you with a clear understanding of the role of money in your life. That's a very important piece that we don't think much about. It particularly enhances your ability to recognize financial patterns. When you know those financial patterns, you're able to use them in a way that's beneficial instead of allowing them to be harmful. Clarifies how your relationship with your money, how healthy is it or isn't it? Most people don't wake up in the morning giving much thought to their relationship with money. Many people do wake up worrying about money, but those worries are non-productive. It's when we really take a hard look at our relationship with our money that we begin to improve it and to understand how it drives our financial behavior and contributes to our financial circumstances. And knowing your money story demonstrates how well your thoughts, feelings, and attitudes about money do or don't serve you. If your thoughts, feelings, and attitudes about money are working against you, it's time to change them. Your money story allows you to consider whether you need or want to create financial behavioral change. And it allows you to learn from past mistakes rather than to keep repeating them. There's nothing wrong with mistakes. That's how we learn. But if we continue to repeat them, we clearly haven't learned the lessons they have to teach us. So 5 steps for writing a better money story. Give your past money story a title. Make time to reread your past story. When you know the details of your past money story, you'll be in a better position to create an improved future money story. Make time to learn the lessons from your past money story. Begin a new money story with a new title. While past is prologue, the more you've learned from the past, the better your future will be. People were able to share their money story titles during the live broadcast, and there were many, and they were wonderful. People were able to share those on our website also. So 5 steps for writing a better money story. Number 3 is give your first chapter a title. Here's where you take control of the future. You give your new future money story a title. You determine what you want it to be, how you want it to read, and then you give your first chapter a title. There's many things we can control and many more that we can't. But unless we're really thinking about what we want in our lives, personally, financially, spiritually, and in every other way, then we have no control unless we're working more proactively. Outline your first chapter. Be detail-oriented. Give lots of thought to how this should look and what you want included. Then write your epilogue. And yes, an epilogue usually pulls your story together and it concludes that story. But by working backwards, by knowing the goals you want to achieve and defining them in your epilogue, you're then able to clarify the steps you need to take in chapter 1 and then in chapter 2 and so on, and to be proactive in writing a better future money story. So the 5 steps: give your past money story a title, begin a new money story with a new title, give your first chapter a title, outline your first chapter, and then write your epilogue. Awareness and understanding, very important components of every area of your life. And we will conclude with a few editor's notes. Let go of what might have been. Very sound advice. Let go of what might have been to make room for what is. If we allow ourselves to get stuck in the past, we're unlikely to be able to move our lives forward. Honor the courage it's taken to get where you are today. Life is difficult, and rather than focus on the negative, financial social work is all about focusing on the positive and on our strengths. Know what you know. When we disconnect from what we truly know, we are working to self-sabotage. So stay connected to what you do know, what you do need. Have access to it and benefit from it. Write your past money story honestly. Write your future money story thoughtfully. Be willing to be right. Be willing to be wrong. Be accepting of what is. Be prepared for what will be. Be patient with who you are. Be excited by who you can become. Be content with today. Be hopeful for tomorrow. Just be yourself. The content of your money story is yours to create. You're the author. Hold on to the pen. Trust yourself. The words you choose for your story will contribute heavily to your financial future. Remember that you do have the power to say, this is not how the story is going to end. You have the power to write a better ending. Please choose your words and your thoughts carefully, and know that spending is about instant gratification. Saving is about delayed gratification. Spending keeps you where you are. Saving takes you where you want to go. Everything's possible when you believe. And certainly believe that there is always hope. If you'd like the handouts from the session, you can email me at Rita@Financial Social Work. You can go to our website and register for our 2 times monthly newsletter, Money News You Need to Know Now. We send out the top 10 money articles from the internet so that you don't have to spend the time, but you can always be up to date on what's happening financially that's of interest to the financial social work community. And our graphic says, one day I'll write a book, but the reality to remember is that every day you're writing part of your money story. So how do you want that to read? We thank you for joining us on this rebroadcast of our Money Story webinar, and hope that you will register for our newsletter, because that's where we also invite people to our monthly webinars. Thanks, and have a more money-wise day. Bye now.